Miscarriage or stillbirth can be obviously devastating. It's not uncommon, though, when it can happen for a variety of reasons and most often through no fault of the mother.
Yeah, despite that, though, hundreds of women across the country have been investigated and prosecuted over their pregnancy losses. And now there's a growing concern the practice could intensify. ABC's Devin Dwyer, such a pleasure to have you here in studio with us with more on this. Hey there.
Hey guys, great to be with you. You know, the Supreme Court decision overturning Roe versus Wade has some pregnancy advocates sounding the alarm, worried more women could be criminally charged with murder for a miscarriage. And one woman who spent more than a year behind bars is now speaking out publicly for the first time.
Very traumatic, nightmarish experience.
It was a nightmare Chelsea Becker says no pregnant woman should endure.
I was homeless throughout my pregnancy, and I was using methamphetamine. But when the stillbirth happened, it crushed me.
It was November 2019 in the city of Hanford. Becker, then 25 years old, had a troubled childhood and struggled with drug addiction.
When you heard the charge, murder of a fetus, what did you think?
They said that I was under arrest for homicide.
Kings County District Attorney Keith Fagundes, alerted by the hospital to meth detected in Becker's stillborn baby, decided to prosecute.
The word fetus is in our murder statute, with the exception for abortion, and it had to be therapeutic abortion under a doctor's care.
Why are you the only DA in California in 30 years to bring prosecutions for stillbirths?
It's not unheard of. It was about drug abuse to a healthy, viable fetus.
The Kings County medical examiner said drug use caused the death of Becker's baby, but her legal team argued 3 unrelated infections were to blame and that there's no scientific evidence meth ends pregnancies. A judge dismissed the case for lack of evidence in May 2021.
And this may have been an act that I contributed to, but this does not mean that I intended for my child to die.
Since Roe versus Wade in 1973, more than 1,700 American women have been prosecuted over the death of a child during pregnancy. Adora Perez, also from Hanford and also addicted to meth during pregnancy, was prosecuted by DA Fagundes in 2018. Perez went to prison for 4 years before her 11-year sentence was overturned.
The goal was to get them clean. You know, we can't bring these dead babies back. We can try to stop their conduct from moving forward.
Using drugs in pregnancy is rarely associated with the pregnancy loss, much less causally associated with that loss. Yet it's those falsehoods upon which some of these, legal decisions rest.
The decisions are a tapestry of American tragedy. Brittany Poolaw currently serving 4 years in an Oklahoma prison after a miscarriage and admission of meth use. Christine Taylor of Iowa charged with attempted feticide after she fell down the stairs of her home. First responders say they had reason to believe she didn't want the baby. It survived and charges were later dropped. Marsha Jones was 5 months pregnant in 2018 when she was shot in the stomach during a fight in an Alabama parking lot. But after she miscarried, a grand jury of her peers indicted Jones, not the woman who fired the shot, with manslaughter for allegedly putting her fetus in harm's way.
We expect more of these cases in a post-Dobbs world. We think that prosecutors will feel even more emboldened than they have been to police pregnancy.
Advocates for pregnant women say the Supreme Court's decision overturning Roe versus Wade is a watershed moment, clearing the way for state laws giving fetuses the same rights as people.
Those laws can transform entire criminal codes and civil codes to apply in the context of pregnancy.
And that concerns Chelsea Becker, who's raising awareness of the impact of prosecuting pregnancy as she tries to honor the memory of a baby boy she'd named Zachariah.
Some people will hear your story and say there has to be some accountability for Zachariah. What would you say to them?
At the end of the day, I'm the one that lives with the loss, and that can only motivate me to do better.
And Chelsea Becker now has sobriety and a steady job. She's studying public health. As for that California District Attorney, Keith Fagundes, well, voters this summer, guys, chose not to give him a second term.
Devin, this story definitely gave me chills as I was listening to it, and specifically in the case you profiled. I think most people would agree drug addiction is a disease, and yet in a state like California, where abortion is legal, How do you get prosecuted and end up behind bars for a stillbirth?
It's a surprise, right, to many people in California, but it is in their murder statute. The word fetus is in the text. Lawmakers say it was never their intent for prosecutors to go after pregnant women. And now, today, legislators are trying to amend the law to make that clear.
So we're talking about one state, one prosecutor you focus on. This happening a lot in other states?
It sure is. I mean, we've seen these cases, 1,700 of them in the past 50 years. Majority of cases are in the South Central Plains. A lot of these cases are happening in states where they have fetal personhood laws on the books. 11 states have language on the text that grants the fetus the same rights as a person. And that's what has advocates so concerned now after that Supreme Court decision.
We thank you so much for your reporting. Always good to have you on the show, but good to have